Hey guys, it's me, Miss Mills, and welcome to Mrs. Mills' Math Time. The whole point of this video is to teach you how to read slope on a graph, how to find the slope when you have a graph. So before we go ahead and get started, and I help you out with IXL Y1, I do want to show you a few things before we actually get into that. And the first thing I want to show you is what a positive slope, oh no, that's too thin. Let's do this. What a positive slope looks like, what a negative slope looks like, what a horizontal slope looks like, or a zero slope, or what a vertical slope looks like, or an undefined line. So whenever you're reading a coordinate plane like this, you will always be reading it from left to right, just like how you would read a book. So let's say you have a line just like that, okay? You want to figure out if it's a negative or positive slope. Well, again, you will read it from the left-hand side, and you're going to move your eyes to the right to figure out what kind of slope it is. What I like to do is I like to imagine a little man at the very left-hand bottom of it, and I want to see what he's doing. If he is walking uphill when he moves to the right, that means it will be a positive slope. If he moves downhill or slides downhill, that means it will be a negative slope. And if it's a complete horizontal line, that means you won't have a slope. It'll be a zero slope. And then if you have a vertical line, that will be an undefined slope. So again, I have a little man right here. He's walking uphill, so this would be a positive slope. But let's say I have a line just like that. Again, you're going to put a man in the top left-hand corner and see what he does when he moves to the right. In this case, he will be moving downhill. Therefore, this is a negative slope. But let's say you have a line just like this, just a horizontal line. If you see a horizontal line like this would be the same as a zero slope. And that's not an O, that is a zero. So let me just write down zero real quick. If you can read that. If you can't, that word says zero. So this would be the same as a zero slope. So whenever you see a horizontal line, it will always equal a zero slope. And how you put a horizontal line just like that, it would always be y equals whatever number it crosses on this y-axis. So let's say this y-axis, this was 1, this was 2, and this was 3. The line passed on the y-axis at 3. So when you see a zero slope like this, it would be y equals 3. But we'll do more examples like that moving forward. Today, I just wanted to help y'all focus on how to read a line on a coordinate plane and figure out what kind of slope it has. If it's negative, positive, a zero, just like this one, or an undefined slope. So let me show you what an undefined slope looks like real quick. Let me just erase a few things. All right, so a undefined slope would be the same as a vertical line, just like that. That's curved. I don't like it. Let's do that. Yeah, a vertical line, just like that. It would go on forever. That is the same as an undefined slope. And this would be the same as x equals wherever this line passes on the x-axis. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. And let's say this was 1, 2, 3. That would mean that this line passed on the 3 on the x-axis. So this would be the same as x equals 3. Again, we would talk more about this. We will talk about more about this in later episodes, but I did want to show you what an undefined line looked like. All right, so now let's figure out how you find the slope when you have the line on the graph. So what you're supposed to do this week is you're supposed to do IXL Y1. So I'm going to do a few of those problems with you. But before we get started, I do want to tell you, whenever you see a line on a slope, so let's say we do have a positive slope, how you figure out what the slope equals to is you first have to do rise over run. So you're going to figure out what it does vertically over what it does horizontally. And again, we always read from left to right, so that will be our denominator. So the first step is you want to find the first point, and then you want to find another point on that coordinate plane. okay? And then you're going to count how many times you went up. So let's say in this case you went up 4 times. That would be your numerator because that would be your rise. And then your run is when you take this and you go over and you count how many times you moved. Let's say in this case it would be like something like 3. That would be your run, which would be your denominator. Since this slope right here is a positive slope, this means that this will stay positive. If I'm clear as mud, let's do some examples real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and go to IXL Y1 because this is what you're supposed to do this week. And I'm going to show you how to find the slope when you have a graph just like this. So let's go ahead and do this real quick. Again, we want to use rise over run. So our first step is we want to find 2 points. Let's say our first point is right here, and the next time it crosses a point is right here. Okay, so we need to figure out how to we got from here to here. So let's rise first. We rose 1 time. So our numerator is going to be 1. Sorry. And then once we rose 1 time, our denominator is going to be how many times we ran. So how many times we went this way. Because again, we always read a graph just like this from left to right. So again, we rose up 1 time, and then we moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to get to this point. So our denominator is going to be a 5. Since this is a positive slope, because if we had a man right here, he would be walking up this slope uphill. So it is positive. So that means this fraction will be positive, and that is your slope. So you'll hit submit. And then we do the same thing. We find 2 points on this graph. So we have a first point right here, and the second point is about right here. So again, the numerator is how many times we rose. We rose 1 time. So our numerator is 1. And we'll hit that slash. And then once we have that 1, we count how many times to the right we moved, which was 1, 2 times. So our denominator will be a 2. So this is 1/2. And as you notice, that will be the same as we go up this line. It'll be consistently that way. We rose 1 time, moved to the right 2 times to get to a point. Again, you can move up 1 time, move over 2 times, move up 1 time, move over 2 times, and that will be the slope no matter what. Another thing about the slope, though, is let's say I was right here and I accidentally chose this point. I didn't see this point. So I rose 2 times and then I moved to the right 4 times. So it would be 2 over 4. Here's the thing. You do always have to put slope in its simplest form. So if you did have 2 divided by 4, when reduced, that is 1/2. So regardless, your slope would be 1/2. All right, so let's do this again. So this point doesn't work right here because it's in between 2 points. So we got to follow this line until we find a point. And I just found one right here. And then we would have to find the second point. So we would move up the line until we found that second point. So now that we have 2 points, again, we can just count. To get to that point, second point, we rose up 1 time. So our numerator is 1. And then we figured out how many times we ran. So we ran 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So it would be 1/4. We cannot simplify that fraction any more than 1/4. This is a positive slope because if we had a man in the left-hand corner, he would be moving uphill. So therefore, we are finished, and that is our slope. Okay, same thing. We have a point right here, and our next point is right here. To get to that point, we rose 1 time, so our numerator is 1. And then we ran 2 times, so our denominator is 2. Again, this is a positive slope, and 1/2 is as reduced as you can get for a fraction, so you can go ahead and hit submit. And guys, that's what this IXL basically is again, you're going to find 2 points on this graph. You're going to figure out how many times you rose and how many times you ran to get to that from the first to the second point. And how many times you rose is your numerator. How many times you ran would be your denominator, and that will be your answer. Guys, if you have any questions, remember to contact me. I hope this video helps, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.